Have you ever gone to a friend or family member's house with the best intentions, only to leave feeling a little awkward and uncertain if you may have overstepped a boundary? Maybe you've even found yourself wondering if your well-meaning visits are causing more harm than good. If you're in your 60s or older, it's especially important to be mindful of how, when, and why you visit others as you navigate your golden years. While a friendly visit may seem harmless on the surface, sometimes what we think is a simple gesture of goodwill can unintentionally cause discomfort or strain relationships. In this video, we're going to explore 4 types of people you should consider avoiding visiting after 60. What you believe to be an innocent drop-in could inadvertently create tension, miscommunication, or even resentment. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to maintain healthier, more respectful connections with your loved ones, ensuring that your relationships remain strong and mutually fulfilling. Stick with me, because you'll learn how to respect boundaries, avoid the common pitfalls, and show you care without crossing any lines. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. 1. Avoid visiting old friends' houses. As we journey through life, nurturing and deepening the bonds that define our friendships, a fundamental truth becomes abundantly clear. The need to respect each other's personal space and time is crucial. Over the years, we come to realize that even the closest and most enduring friendships require a delicate balance between connection and respecting one another's boundaries. We may have spent countless hours laughing together, supporting each other during hard times, and sharing precious memories, but this does not erase the truth that every individual, no matter how close they are to us, needs space to breathe and live their life independently. One of the simplest yet most thoughtful ways we can honor this need for personal space is by refraining from showing up uninvited at a friend's home. Though it might seem harmless, or even considerate, to pop by without advance notice, it's important to remember that the years we've spent together don't negate the fact that everyone has the right to privacy and time for themselves. What might feel like a spontaneous, friendly gesture to us could be an uninvited intrusion into someone else's carefully crafted routine, mental state, or emotional landscape. Sure, we've spent time together through thick and thin, and surely our friendship is strong enough to withstand an impromptu visit, right? But even with all the shared memories and experiences, a surprise visit can disrupt the flow of someone's day in ways we may not fully understand. A seemingly small thing, like a quick phone call or a text before showing up, can make all the difference. This simple gesture acknowledges that your friend's time and personal space are just as valuable as your desire to reconnect. Consider the feeling you get when someone shows up uninvited at your door, even if it's a dear friend. Even though you love them and have known them for years, it can feel overwhelming. The issue isn't with the person or their intention. It's about the unexpected interruption in your life. You might be in the middle of something important, working on a project, sorting through personal matters, or even just enjoying some rare quiet time. A surprise visit can throw off your emotional balance, leaving you feeling either obligated to entertain or guilty for not being in the mood to socialize. This is a difficult position to navigate because, on the one hand, we don't want to let our friends down or hurt their feelings. But on the other hand, we must also prioritize and protect our mental and emotional space. That's why taking the time to reach out beforehand, a quick phone call or text, can be such a powerful solution. It gives both people the freedom to prepare for the interaction, ensuring that both are in the right frame of mind and emotionally ready for the visit. It also removes any pressure that might come with the feeling that you're intruding into someone's life uninvited. A phone call isn't a demand. It's an invitation, a request to make sure the timing is right for both parties. In today's fast-paced world, where people are constantly juggling responsibilities and obligations, this small act of consideration can be the key to preserving and nurturing a healthy and thriving relationship. I've come to deeply appreciate that respecting these boundaries isn't just about good manners. It's about demonstrating empathy, maturity, and understanding in the friendships we hold dear. Life, as we know, is unpredictable. People change, grow, and evolve. As we grow older, we become more attuned to our own needs, one of which is the need for peace, solitude, and uninterrupted time to recharge and reflect. This isn't a call to withdraw from our friends or to isolate ourselves. Rather, it's about recognizing that every individual needs space to thrive in their way. Our friendships can grow even stronger when we allow each other the space to be ourselves. We live in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming, where everyone carries their stressors and responsibilities. It's crucial to understand that your friends may not always have the energy to entertain or host an impromptu visit. Acknowledging this need for personal time is a profound act of respect for their emotional and mental well-being. Take, for example, the story of Jennifer and Kate, two women who have shared a deep and lasting friendship for over 3 decades. Throughout their years together, they have supported each other through thick and thin, celebrating life's milestones and providing comfort during moments of grief. Yet, as time passed, both found themselves busier and more stretched than ever before. Jennifer, in particular, thought that stopping by Kate's house without giving notice was a simple and natural way to keep their bond strong, never realizing that this may no longer be the best approach to their friendship. One afternoon, Jennifer dropped by Kate's house unexpectedly, believing it would be a casual, carefree visit. However, when Kate opened the door, she was in the middle of a critical project, and her mind was far from ready for socializing. While Kate was always gracious and welcoming, she couldn't help but feel flustered and overwhelmed by the sudden interruption. She had a million thoughts running through her head, and it was difficult for her to give Jennifer the attention she deserved. Jennifer, in turn, felt a sense of awkwardness, as though she had unwittingly disrupted Kate's flow. What was intended to be a spontaneous and loving visit left both women feeling a little out of sync. After that visit, Jennifer took time to reflect on the situation and realized that a simple call or text beforehand would have made a world of difference. It would have allowed Kate to prepare for their meeting mentally and emotionally, ensuring that the visit would be a comfortable and enjoyable experience for both of them. From that moment on, Jennifer committed to reaching out before dropping by. It wasn't about creating distance between them. Rather, it was about making sure that their time together was intentional and thoughtful. These days, Jennifer and Kate meet at their favorite cafe, a neutral space free from the demands and distractions of daily life. Here, they can sit back, relax, and reconnect without the pressure of interrupting each other's routines. Their conversations flow easily, and they can enjoy each other's company without the unspoken tension of feeling like they're intruding into one another's lives. The strength of their friendship has only grown as a result of this shift in how they approach their time together. If you're still with me and finding value in these reflections, please comment 1 below to let me know you're here. The shift in how we approach our friendships by respecting boundaries is not a sign of weakening affection. Instead, it's a sign of growth and maturity. It's about understanding that we all have our own separate lives to live, and that's perfectly okay. We don't need to constantly be together to maintain a strong bond. Giving each other the space to be ourselves only makes the time we spend together that much more meaningful. Respecting boundaries is a practice of kindness, understanding, and trust. It shows that you care deeply for your friend's comfort, mental space, and emotional well-being. As we age, the need for solitude, privacy, and personal time often becomes even more important. It's not about becoming antisocial or distant. Rather, it's about protecting our energy and ensuring that we use it wisely. We've come to realize that peace is precious, and time alone is essential for our well-being. So, next time you consider stopping by unannounced, remember that a simple text or call can be the key to maintaining a deeper, more thoughtful connection with your friend. It allows both of you to prepare mentally and emotionally for a visit that is genuine and fulfilling. After all, the best moments shared with friends are the ones that happen when both people are truly ready, when their hearts and minds are open to the conversation. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, the moments that are meaningful, intentional, and enjoyable for both parties involved. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 2. Don't visit relatives' houses. When we think about visiting family, it's almost automatic to believe that spending time with them will strengthen our bonds. The family often occupies the top spot on the list of people we cherish and wish to keep close, especially as we grow older. The notion that the more we see our relatives, the closer we'll grow, seems so straightforward and appealing, doesn't it? The very idea of regular visits brings to mind warmth, connection, and the comfort of being surrounded by people who know you deeply. People who've shared in your joys, sorrows, and all the chapters in between. After all, these are the people who've been by your side through life's most significant moments. So surely, more time spent together will only serve to strengthen those bonds, right? Or perhaps not. At first glance, this concept seems to make perfect sense. Who wouldn't want to spend more time with family, creating memories, and deepening existing connections. The image of gathering together with loved ones is easy to romanticize. But as time goes on, we begin to realize that spending too much time with family can sometimes have the opposite effect of what we hope for. What once felt like a reassuring certainty, more family time equals more love, can, over time, transform into an emotional burden. As we age and our lives shift, the dynamics of our relationships evolve too. Sometimes, what was once a source of comfort can inadvertently lead to emotional exhaustion. The more we push for constant proximity, the greater the risk of suffocating those we love without even recognizing it. This is a harsh truth that many of us discover the hard way. I've come to learn through personal experience that while family is undeniably important, there's something equally vital that we often overlook: personal space. It's essential to not only respect our boundaries, but to honor the boundaries of those we care about as well. Space doesn't mean distancing ourselves emotionally or physically from the people we love. Rather, it's about giving them the freedom to breathe, to continue living their own independent lives, and ensuring that the time we do spend together is something to be cherished, rather than something that feels like an obligation or an imposition. Love, after all, can be communicated in subtle ways, sometimes through a heartfelt text, a brief phone call, or simply a quiet acknowledgement from afar. It's about knowing that our relationships can remain just as strong, even without constant reinforcement. This lesson became especially clear to me when I heard about Paul, a 64-year-old man who had recently retired after decades of hard work. His story resonated with me deeply because, in many ways, I saw myself in him. Like so many of us, Paul had spent the majority of his life building his career. His identity had been intricately tied to his work, his professional accomplishments, and his status. However, after retiring, Paul found himself standing at a crossroads. With all his free time, he was unsure how to fill his days or even what his new purpose was. The fast-paced life he had known for so long no longer existed. He had never fully prepared for the slow, quiet rhythm of retirement. For the first time, he felt unmoored and uncertain, questioning what his next chapter would look like now that the demands of his job were no longer present to define him. Paul had always prided himself on the close relationships he maintained with his family. He believed that retirement would be the perfect opportunity to reconnect with old friends and loved ones, to rekindle those bonds that had been put on hold during the busy years of his career. He longed to feel the warmth of companionship again and thought that his new life would be filled with visits, shared memories, and the comfort of old friendships. So, one afternoon, with a box of homemade cookies in hand, Paul set off to visit his longtime friend Richard, who had retired a few years earlier. Richard was someone Paul had known for decades, and they had shared many memories, having worked together in the same industry for years. Paul thought the visit would be a pleasant and simple gesture, a way to reconnect with Richard after years of silence, with no agenda other than to enjoy each other's company. However, when Paul arrived at Richard's house, he immediately sensed that something was off. Although Richard and his wife, Mary, greeted him politely, there was an unspoken tension in the air. Instead of the warm, heartfelt embrace Paul had imagined, there was a subtle discomfort that lingered just beneath the surface. Paul offered the cookies, hoping to break the tension, but Richard, with a forced chuckle, remarked that their lives had become quieter since retiring. His tone suggested an apology for the changes in their lifestyles if they felt embarrassed by the slower pace of life they had cultivated in their golden years. Richard made a light-hearted comment about how they no longer had any influence or power to offer, a remark that Paul tried to laugh off. Still, despite his best efforts to reassure them that he was simply there to visit and wasn't seeking anything from them, the atmosphere remained strained. The unease didn't dissipate. It only seemed to intensify with every passing moment. The conversation that followed was awkward, filled with forced politeness and hollow exchanges. Paul, trying to salvage the visit, engaged in small talk, but it felt forced and disconnected. There was no spark of the warm connection they had once shared, no comfort in the familiar. The tea they shared was lukewarm, and the silence between words seemed to grow heavier with each passing minute. Paul began to realize that what was meant to be a simple, joyful reunion had unintentionally become a burden for both parties. The visit ended with Mary seeing Paul out. Her smile was polite but strained, and her goodbye was hurried as if she was eager to return to the comfort of their quiet routine. As Paul walked away, a nagging sense of discomfort settled in. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had overstayed his welcome and, in his attempt to rekindle the past, had disrupted the peaceful space Richard and Mary had cultivated in their retirement. Reflecting on the experience later, Paul realized that his good intentions had unintentionally overstepped the boundaries of their relationship. In his eagerness to reconnect, he hadn't recognized the importance of respecting Richard and Mary's new rhythm of life. They were at a different stage now, a stage that prioritized peace and solitude, and his unannounced visit had disrupted that balance. His presence, instead of adding to their lives, had inadvertently become an obligation. This experience taught Paul a valuable lesson. Relationships aren't about proximity, and love isn't measured by how often we visit or how much we give. It's about knowing when to step back and allow others the space they need to live their lives independently. True love doesn't require constant presence. It's about understanding when to stay and when to go, when to offer support, and when to give people room to breathe. It's about respecting the natural flow of relationships and trusting that love will endure even without constant reinforcement. As we grow older, we must learn to cultivate our own space and respect the space of those we love. It's not about keeping a constant physical presence, but about understanding the subtle power of respecting each other's boundaries. True love, after all, thrives not on obligation but on mutual understanding, patience, and trust. Sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is to allow silence, to trust that the bond will remain strong even in the spaces between visits. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 3. Avoid visiting siblings' houses. There's a deep sense of comfort that comes with the thought of family, especially siblings. From a young age, we are instilled with the belief that family is forever. These are the people who share our past, our upbringing, and the experiences that shape who we are. The bonds we have with our siblings often seem unbreakable, nurtured by shared childhood memories, inside jokes, and the sense of belonging that comes from growing up in the same household. Family is meant to be a constant, a steady presence that supports us through life's ups and downs. The relationships we form are supposed to endure, offering a sense of love and security no matter where life takes us. However, as time inevitably moves forward, change becomes a constant companion. The strong, unbreakable ties we once felt with our siblings can begin to feel fragile. Even in the most loving families, this reality can be hard to accept. The way things were, those cherished family gatherings, those intimate moments, may not always last. The natural course of life shifts dynamics, and sometimes it's better to step back, recognizing when it's time to give each other the space needed to thrive independently. Consider the Martin family, a group of 5 siblings who, now in their 50s and 60s, carry with them decades of shared history and memories. Growing up, the Martins epitomized what many would envy in a family: closeness, warmth, and joy. Their parents' house was a haven, the center of their family universe. Holidays were celebrations full of love and laughter, the table always abundant with food and the sounds of happiness. Sundays meant a time to gather and be together, the familiarity of home a comforting constant. The Martins lived the kind of life that many of us aspire to: tight-knit, supportive, and full of vibrant moments. They knew each other's hearts. Each sibling understood the other's dreams, fears, and aspirations. The simplicity of their lives, with family as the foundation, was beautiful in its security. No matter what challenges the outside world presented, they always had each other, a place of unwavering support to return to, a home where they created memories that seemed impossible to forget. But as life often unfolds, change is inevitable. Time marches on, and so do the circumstances surrounding their family. Their parents, who had once been the glue holding everyone together, grew older. As is the nature of life, the unthinkable happened. Their parents passed away. The loss of that central, guiding force left a noticeable void. The home that had once been the gathering place for celebrations, comfort, and togetherness was no longer the sanctuary it once was. Each of the Martin siblings, now with their own families, careers, and responsibilities, found themselves navigating the complexities of adult life. The pull of distance began to creep in, subtle at first, but undeniable over time. As the years passed, family gatherings became less frequent. The once regular, joyous reunions were replaced by longer periods between visits. What was once a cornerstone of their existence had become a rare occasion, something to look forward to, but often delayed or rescheduled. At first, the decline in their gatherings was barely noticeable. One meeting missed here or there, excused by work commitments, health issues, or personal obligations. But gradually, these excuses built up. The calls, the shared moments, the connection that had once been effortless began to fade into distant memories. Before long, they were no longer the regular, predictable part of their lives they had once been. One day, a close family friend who had been a fixture in the Martins' lives for many years, asked Greg, the eldest sibling, why the family no longer seemed to get together as often. Greg, the one who had always taken the lead in organizing family events, the one who was the glue that held them all together, answered in a cold, almost detached manner, "We only gathered because our parents were there. Now, it doesn't make sense to get together. If I have time, I'd rather spend it with my own family." At first, that response can feel jarring, even harsh. It's a hard truth to swallow, one that might sting and cause you to question the very nature of familial bonds. But as difficult as it is to accept, there's an undeniable reality in Greg's words. It's something that many families experience as they grow older. When the central figures, usually the parents, are no longer there to hold everyone together, the gatherings that once seemed essential may lose their significance. The things that once made their family feel unshakable, the tradition of Sunday dinners, the spontaneous moments of connection, the shared experiences, slowly start to fade. As adults, the demands of life increase. Careers, children, marriages, and personal challenges all take precedence. These obligations, coupled with personal growth, leave little space for the regular closeness that defined earlier years. Life evolves, and with it, priorities shift. The very essence of what once made a family so tightly knit starts to change. This shift isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. It's simply the natural process of life. As we grow older, we each carve out our own space in the world, and sometimes those spaces are not as interconnected as they once were. The family dynamic that once felt so natural now requires effort and understanding. The reality is that relationships evolve, and it's not always easy to maintain the same level of closeness. This is where the concept of visiting your siblings, without a specific reason, without a clear invitation, can become awkward or uncomfortable. It's not a reflection of love or respect that's lacking, but rather a product of life's inevitable changes. Sometimes, life is too busy and too complicated, and the rhythm of constant visits and regular communication can feel like a strain. Showing up uninvited, even with good intentions, can feel like a disruption. For some, it may add unnecessary pressure, particularly if one sibling feels burdened by the expectation to host or entertain. While these feelings are often unspoken, they can quietly erode the ease that once defined family interactions. In such cases, it's crucial to recognize when it's time to take a step back. Not because the relationship has ended, but because it needs space to breathe and evolve. Siblings may not always be able to maintain the frequency of visits or phone calls they once did, but that doesn't mean the love is gone. It simply means that the form of that love is changing. The bond that was once built on daily interactions and shared moments of joy transforms into something deeper and more mature. It becomes a love that honors each person's individuality and respects their space. As we grow, we learn that love isn't always proven by constant interaction. Sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is give each other room to grow, follow different paths, and flourish in our ways. Ultimately, letting go of the idea that love requires constant presence allows relationships to evolve into something new. It's not about distancing ourselves. It's about understanding that true love doesn't need to be proved through frequent visits. It's about respecting one another's journey, even if it means the physical distance between us grows. And though those visits may become rarer, the love remains. It simply takes on a different, but still powerful, form. 4. Avoid visiting the homes of overly tidy people. Visiting someone's home is an experience that extends beyond mere social interaction. It's not just a casual visit, but a moment of connection that carries deeper meaning. When you enter someone's home, you're not just walking into a physical space, you're stepping into their life. It's an intimate experience that offers a glimpse into their personality, their history, their values, and their emotional world. Homes reflect more than just aesthetic choices. They mirror the inner workings of a person's mind and soul. The way someone decorates, organizes, and inhabits their space can reveal so much about their character and what they hold dear. As we grow older, we become more aware of the power our surroundings have on our emotional state. In our younger years, we might take our environment for granted, but with time, we start to notice how important it is to feel comfortable, safe, and at peace in our own space. The energy of the space, the ambience, and the arrangement of objects all contribute to a sense of emotional well-being. The older we get, the more we crave tranquility and order in our surroundings, seeking solace in spaces that offer calm and a sense of balance. Our homes become sacred ground. More than just a place to sleep, they are extensions of our very being. They offer stability, comfort, and refuge from the demands and unpredictability of the outside world. For many of us, especially as we enter later stages of life, our homes are no longer just buildings. They have become sanctuaries, places of refuge where we can recharge and feel in control of our environment. The peace we cultivate in these spaces is vital to our mental and emotional health. Our homes are where we retreat from the chaos of the world, and as we age, the need for that peace grows even stronger. Maintaining a sense of order, cleanliness, and organization within our home isn't merely about preference. It becomes a necessity for our well-being. It's about creating an environment where we feel in control and at peace, where everything has its place, and where we can relax knowing that the world within our walls is calm and predictable. Ryan, for example, is someone who has always placed great importance on maintaining a pristine, orderly home. To him, a clean and well-organized space is not just an aesthetic choice. It's an essential part of his emotional and mental health. Ryan takes pride in ensuring that every surface is dusted, every item is in its designated place, and his environment is free of clutter. To outsiders, his home might seem overly meticulous, but to Ryan, it is a reflection of his need for control and peace. It is where he finds comfort, where he can escape the overwhelming demands of the world. His home is his sanctuary, and he has worked hard to cultivate an atmosphere that promotes relaxation, harmony, and inner peace. When you step into Ryan's home, it feels almost like entering a sacred space. Everything has been carefully placed with intention, and every corner speaks to the careful thought he has put into his environment. It doesn't feel like a sterile or impersonal space, quite the opposite. It feels warm, inviting, and deeply personal. But there's an underlying orderliness to everything, a sense of control that Ryan has created in his space. Each object, each piece of furniture, and even the smallest details have been thoughtfully arranged to create a harmonious whole. It is clear that Ryan views his home as more than just a physical shelter. It is a reflection of his emotional state, a place where he feels secure and in control. The peace he has worked so hard to build in this space is an integral part of his life, and any disruption to it feels deeply unsettling. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Ryan's approach to his home might seem obsessive to some, but for him, it is far more than just a preference for cleanliness. It is a way of ensuring that he maintains control over his environment, a crucial need for someone who has lived through their share of challenges. As he ages, this need for order becomes even more pronounced. Ryan has lived through difficult times, and his home has always been a constant source of stability for him. It has been his haven, the one place where he can feel in control of his surroundings, where he can retreat and recharge. As he faces the inevitable challenges that come with getting older, his home becomes an even more important part of his emotional and mental well-being. When Ryan's space is disrupted, it isn't just a matter of a messy room or a spilled drink. It's an emotional disturbance. It's the disturbance of the peace he has carefully crafted, and that disturbance reaches deeper than any physical mess could. His home isn't just a place to live. It's a reflection of his inner calm, a place where he has invested emotional energy to create a sense of order and serenity. When that peace is disturbed, it feels like an attack on his emotional well-being, a rupture in the carefully constructed world he has built. One day, Amanda, Ryan's cousin, stopped by his house unannounced. Amanda was someone who didn't hold the same reverence for order. She was spontaneous and often acted without thinking ahead. She had a favor to ask and thought she could quickly drop by for a brief visit to borrow some money. Her visit, while well-meaning, wasn't planned, and in her haste, she didn't consider the impact her visit might have on Ryan's carefully maintained home. In the rush of her visit, Amanda went to the bathroom, and in the process, accidentally knocked over a bottle of lotion. The spill was small, barely noticeable to most people, but to Ryan, it felt like a disruption in the very fabric of his sanctuary. At first, Ryan brushed it off, not wanting to make a big deal out of a small accident. He was always willing to be generous with his family, and he didn't want to cause any tension over something so trivial. But as the day went on, the incident stayed with him. The more he thought about it, the more it bothered him. It wasn't just about the spill itself. it was the lack of consideration. To Ryan, the small accident symbolized a lack of respect for the care he had taken to create a peaceful, orderly environment. It was as though Amanda hadn't fully understood the importance of the space she had entered. His home wasn't just a physical place, it was his sanctuary, and the emotional disturbance caused by that spill was what truly upset him. Ryan eventually made the difficult decision not to lend Amanda the money she needed. To outsiders, this might seem like an unkind or heartless decision, but to Ryan, it was the only choice that made sense. His refusal wasn't about the money at all. It was about his emotional boundaries. The incident with the spill had crossed a line for Ryan. It wasn't just about the mess, it was about the lack of respect for his home, his sanctuary. To Ryan, his home was an extension of himself, a place where he could feel at peace, and that peace couldn't be compromised, no matter the circumstances. Ryan later explained to Amanda that while he would always help a family member in need, he couldn't overlook the emotional impact that her actions had on him. For him, the emotional significance of his home far outweighed any monetary transaction. A simple favor like lending money didn't hold the same weight as the emotional integrity of his space. His home, the place where he found peace and tranquility, deserved to be treated with respect, and that respect was something that Amanda had inadvertently disregarded. To some, Ryan's response might seem extreme or even petty. After all, the spill was minor, and it was only a bathroom mishap. But that's precisely the point. It wasn't about the physical mess, it was about the emotional weight of the situation. It's easy to dismiss the significance of such a small incident, but for Ryan, it was a reminder of how deeply tied our homes are to our sense of self. Our homes are not just buildings, they are extensions of who we are. They represent our boundaries, our need for order, and the peace we so desperately seek in a chaotic world. Ryan's experience teaches a valuable lesson. Our homes are sacred spaces that deserve respect. A visit, no matter how well-meaning, can still be an intrusion if we fail to consider the emotional landscape of the person we are visiting. For those who cherish order and cleanliness, it's not just about the outward appearance of the space, it's about the deeper emotional connection to that space. Our homes are where we seek peace, balance, and control, and when that peace is disrupted, it can feel like an emotional violation. As we age, the importance of this emotional sanctuary grows even stronger. What might have seemed like a small inconvenience in our younger years becomes a much more significant issue as we get older. Our need for order, calm, and control is no longer just a preference. It's a necessity for our emotional well-being. When we visit someone's home, it's important to remember that we are entering their sanctuary. And with that knowledge comes the responsibility to honor their boundaries, recognizing that even the smallest disruption can have far-reaching emotional consequences. It's easy to overlook the significance of these emotional landscapes, but for those who value their homes as sacred spaces, it's a reality that shapes their everyday lives. As we reach the end of this video, I want to hear from you. What have you learned so far? How can respecting boundaries and being mindful of the people around us help strengthen relationships as we age? Please leave a comment below and share one thing you've learned and will practice in your own life. I'd love to know how you plan to apply these insights. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content that can help guide you through life's changes. Your engagement helps us keep bringing you the wisdom and support that matters most. Remember, relationships thrive when we honor one another's space and needs. Let's continue learning, growing, and supporting each other with understanding and care. I'll see you in the next video.